welcome to the Gamers Table. It is Monday, and we're reviewing the battle at Kemble's Cascade.
Looking up at the night sky west of Cassiopeia, you will find Kemble's Cascade is in an apparent straight line of more than 20 stars that create a colorful waterfall across the vault of heaven. The legend tells that deep inside the asteroid clusters of Kemble's Cascade, ancient fearsome titans guard alien secrets and potent minerals. The year is 3868 AD, and you have been sent out to the Cascade by the Federation Council of your empire to uncover the myths and bring back technology yet unknown. This will once and for all give you the glory that you so well deserve.
So we got player boards. Cubes for each player and their ships.
Space cards, boss cards,
Weapons cards, mod cards, achievement cards.
Cool white crystals that do not look like baloney but are called balonium.
yes, extra scorecard levels, and the
Mission
rule
cards.
book. So this game is sort of a simulation of an old-style arcade game, only not quite, because there's multiplayers playing at once, and not only is there the scrolling battle coming down, they can also shoot at each other and go to the store whilst mid-battle, which sort of...
Well, it's kind of like getting power-ups while you're on the street.
Yeah, but you couldn't multiple play and go to the store
Yeah,
and
I
save
know
up and
you
buy.
can multiple play.
Anyway,
Yeah, you can play 1 to 5. You can actually play solo games in this.
so you set up the game by sorting out the different levels of the space cards. They're like A1, F1, W, whatever, and you choose so many of each type, and you set them into a stack. And then there are 5 rows of these here, things that you can sort of see. Trays for putting the cards in. The two don't go together, and depending on how many players, you widen it out so it'll get enough cards across for that number of players.
Oh,
Player order is done with our
Sensor cards.
Sensor cards, right? You get 2 of them at the start, and you pick which one you want to go. Usually higher number if you want to try and go first, or lower number if you want to go last. Some of them have little bonus. These ones don't, but some of them have little bonuses on the bottom, like an extra movement, a balonium, so it's the little clear crystals. The 400, which it goes 10 to 400. The 400 is the highest card, so you're a little bit of a penalty for definitely going first, and that's your second overcharge on your turn. Costs you 3 energy instead of just 2.
And it actually has a unique system for how it works, too. There's 2 rows off here. There's the threat row on the top and the energy row underneath. If your energy ever falls into these skull and crossbones, your ship blows up, and you start blinking, you go to the bottom of the board, and you'll get to come back on.
You're called astral at that point.
But the threat level is how the damage comes to you in the first place. If there's threat around you, shown by these little starburst symbols, or if there's another player shoots at you, it doesn't actually directly affect your energy. It goes up to your threat level.
And then on your turn, you can deal with your threat by moving. Every time you move a space, you can reduce your threat by 1. Sometimes there's special cards you can use to reduce your threat. But for the most part, if you're not able to reduce your threat to 0, you will then trade 1 for 1 threat to damage.
And then after that's done, if you're dead, your threat's going to be back down at 0 again, and you go astral. Now, the moving to get rid of your threat simulates like dodging shots in the game. So what you do on your turn is you can move and fire.
If you choose the battle option.
If you choose the battle option, and then once you've moved and fired, and then possibly overcharged, you get 2 overcharges. The first overcharge costs 1 energy to do it. The second overcharge costs 2 energy to do it. And you also have a, a rotary cage, which allows you to change the direction of your guns, which you can only fire orthogonally. And so that costs even more energy. And then your threat costs you energy too, possibly.
Lots of energy being used.
And so then you're only allowed to do those. So you're basically allowed to fire like 3 times or move 3 times. Then you've got your power down. Oh, then you add new threat after you resolved your previous threat. So your power down is recharge 2 energy, so you can get more and hopefully avoid dying. Then you resolve your threat that you already have. Return any PvP markers. You get PvP markers by other players attacking you, and to indicate they've attacked you, they put a cube on there. Then you can shop for things, so you can buy as many things as you can afford with your balonium, and then or upgrade stuff. Flip the cards over. like your weapons and mods, and then you add new threat for whatever's around you, or any global threat.
And that goes for everybody who's on the table. Once everybody's had their turn, the bottom row is cleared off, all the cards are taken, and you take it from the bottom, put it on the top of the rank, and fill it up with cards again to show that everything is scrolling down. Anyone who is in that bottom gets scroll pushed up. You know, like when you're playing an old video game and you try to stay at the bottom of the board that's scrolling and the stuff just comes down and hits you anyway. Pushes you up into whatever's in front of you.
Yeah, and if it's something like an asteroid or another player ship, you'll immediately take 1 energy damage, and then you'll have to move either to the left or right. And if there's something there, you'll take another damage.
You got mines, other ships, player ships, boss. You got the boss at the end, black holes, wormholes, which allow you, if you move on to them, you get the choice of either sitting on the wormhole or going through it. And from moving from one wormhole to the other does not cost you a movement.
But you can only do that if there's actually 2 wormholes on the board. Otherwise, it's just a blank
Otherwise,
space.
you just sit there. Yeah.
This game is mostly English, but if you're playing with a person who speaks French, there is 1 player board in French. He's actually a French captain, where all the other guys are English-speaking captains.
And we've showed you this.
Even the hawk guy.
We showed you this a couple times, which is kind of nice. Turn. Everything is written down there. All your stuff is basically fairly clear. What goes on the turn is right in front of you, so you don't really need to refer a lot. It's not a hugely quick game because people can start deciding, well, maybe I should move here, maybe I should move there. But it does a good idea of simulating that arcade feel. It's going to keep happening. You can't just sit. The board is going to scroll. You got to do something. You can't just lay around.
Now, there are a whole bunch of achievements, like I mentioned earlier. So if you happen to shoot in 3 different directions in a turn, there's an achievement for that. Getting over a certain threat level in a turn, you can get points for that. Getting 3 weapons or 3 mods will get you victory points or glory points. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do in here. Like in some of the missions you have, like this one here, end your turn with only 1 energy 4 times. So your energy cube would have to be on the 1 down here at the end of your turn.
Which is scary.
It's not easy, and yeah, you're close to dying. But
How do you win the game? And it is the other chart here, which would have been nicer if they put a little more space and you actually sit the cards on it rather than things. But this is the glory track. Starts at 1, goes around. If you make it up to the 20, there are plus 20 and plus 40 if you keep looping around the track.
when you're astral, you can change the direction of your what is it? Rotary cage. I was trying to think of the rotary word. For free while you're astral. You do not get to shoot, or you don't collect any glory points for when other players die, except unless you have one of your player cubes on them from having shot them before you died. You can purchase things while you're astral.
Anyway, so that's, and like we're talking about the achievements, there's always 4 of them. If somebody claims one, another one immediately pops up. So there's always 4 to choose from down there. But this is where you put your sensor, which are the ones that are turn order, and also cover up spaces. If you claim a power up or whatever, or blow up a ship, this covers it up so you don't see it there anymore.
Yeah, just a regular space area that's blank.
Yep.
And then there's the power-ups, which are cards that have different options. Maybe they'll help you. Maybe they'll stop when you blow up. No, nobody else is getting any points for me. Ha ha. And there's the missions. You get 1 per game, which kind of sucks because some of them are really
Difficult.
not good. And then the upgrades. There's a whole bunch of different weapon upgrades and armor and upgrades. All sorts of stuff. You can choose which path to take and what to upgrade, what to get bigger. Kind of makes for a lot of replayability in this game.
Yeah, there's not a huge amount of balloning, so there's no way you're going to make a super ship every time. You're going to have to pick and choose. I'll show you some of the weapons. You got the gamma weapon, which will shoot the entire row or the entire column. Nothing will block it. It'll do all the damage to everything. The missile will go out in I can't pick it up. Go out in one direction or another, but then it'll also branch off for another smaller shot.
Orthogonally. Yeah.
Orthogonally. And then you got the flamethrower, which is cheap and does good damage, but it's only good to adjacent opponents or targets. And then the laser is just all-purpose.
Multiple fire.
And just like the gun turret, the base gun turret on your
What
ship.
about the mods?
What about the mods? Well, there's shields you can get, which helps you to mitigate your threat. You got a generator to get more energy because more energy is always good. Upgrading your roll cage is definitely a good idea. That way you're not spending energy every time you want to change your direction you want to shoot. And then the engine is great for moving around the board and getting rid of threat, because the more you move, the more you can reduce your threat. And I think that's it for the ship mods.
I think so. Yeah, but there's one thing about that engine. There's actually one achievement for that one where it says if you haven't purchased the engine for the extra movement at the end of the game, you get a glory point. And most of the time, the engines, most of us don't buy it, so a lot of times it's shared at the end of the game. But the engines are pretty good. Extra movement's always nice.
And Ken had a moment this game where it was like he's playing an actual video game, just playing the video game. Ooh, I got an achievement. Ooh, I got an achievement. He wasn't even paying attention to the achievements. So they're like, all right, toss him that one. He got that one. Toss him that one. You jerk.
Wrapping up for Battle at Kemble's Cascade. Theme is playing a video game, and it captures it really well. Everything you do feels very video game. I mean, there's something, like I said, the shopping and stuff. It's a little bit how you're going to shop in the middle of the game, but you just let that slide. Like Ken said, sort of like you're flying over different power-ups or whatever. Easy to play. Yeah. The rule book is really clear, and it is really easy to pick this up. It's one of the ones where reading the rule book first won't really help you, because until you lay this stuff out and see how the trays move and everything, it's sort of hard to put you in your head exactly what they're talking about. I read it and it's like, wow, that sounded good. And we started playing, so wow, this is a lot of fun. So that goes with the third one, fun to play. Yeah, it is. It doesn't seem to last as long as it lasts, because everything's going. You can't really slow your turn down too much, because there's just not that much to do. It's either shoot and move, or just sit there. Those are your only options. You don't got anything else to do. And if you just sit there, they're going to scroll your ass into an asteroid. So do something! I give the Battle at Kemble's Cascade an 8.5.
I think Craig's right on the theme here. I think it works really well thematically, as far as like an old video game, kind of like Space Invaders or anything like that, or Centipede or something where your character or your ship can actually move around a little bit instead of just scrolling left and right on the bottom. Getting, taking a turn to power down or whatever to get a mod or whatever is kind of like, well, you're concentrating on getting that one power up, but other guys you're not actually off the board or whatever screen, so somebody can still shoot you. But it's great, the different variety of bosses, all the different types of cards that you can throw in. Yeah, the bosses are cool. Some of them actually, when you hit the boss and destroy one side, it'll flip over to possibly a more powerful side, or at least different. So I'm going to give this one a 9.
It definitely has a good feel of an 8-bit scrolling shooter. The box is really nice, the artwork on the box, but the actual game itself looks like an 8-bit shooter. Other extra cards you can add into the game to add some variety. The Merchant, if you land on his square, you can spend a Bolognium to immediately shop. You also have the Space Mosquito, which is a little annoying because as soon as you shoot it, it goes somewhere else. It's like, get away, mosquito! Now it's over there. It's frustrating. And then you also have the Space Bomb. When this eventually, well, it's something you can run into and take damage, but it won't. When it scrolls off the board, you will draw 3 sensor cards, and depending on the symbols or colors that match the players who are playing, they'll immediately take 2 threat for every matching symbol, which could be really nasty. Yeah, the trays are really functional. It's a lot easier than manually shifting all the card rows down. Just pick up the tray, dump it, add another to the tray. It adds a lot. It makes it a lot better, so you're not fiddling with cards all the time.
The noise on my
or you're constantly moving down the table. Okay, well, we got to add another row. Let's just move all our chairs down.
It's a really good solution to speed up the one thing that would slow this game down a lot. If you had to shuffle all those cards all the time.
It'd make it a lot more fiddly if we didn't have the trays. So the trays are great, and the fact that they're expandable to accommodate for a wider screen size for more players. I give the Battle of Kemble's Cascade an 8.
Okay, so that's it for this episode of the Gamers Table. Tune in next time where we review another game.
Because that's what we do.
I think Kemble's.
You know, the only different.
I need your help. My brother. He's missing.
Nah, so tell it to the cops, dollface.
I have nowhere else to go.
So tell me about your brother.
He works at the university, doing research for several of the professors. Internet searches for strange happenings. Things of that sort.
Strange happenings? What kind of strange happenings?
He's heading to the apartment. Should I stop him?
What the hell is this thing?
Don't make me come back down here again, Carmichael. You need to back off.
Look, Rach, I've got a case. And I need your help. I'm being tailed by lurking strangers and warned off the case by angry cops.
He contacted her, just like you said he would.
Very well. Perhaps we should lend Mr. Carmichael some assistance ourselves.